Commence primary ignition.
Hey there, friends, fans, and collectors. Welcome to another episode of Binary Sunset Review. Today we're going to be taking a look at some of the amazing expansion of clones that we saw in the Saga collection. These are some great models. I can't wait to dive into them. Let's get going. The Saga collection, which was kind of throughout 2006, 2008, really saw some amazing depth in the expanded universe and some other legacy clones and stories that, we hadn't seen prior.
Before I begin, I want to remind everyone to hit the subscribe button below. That way you'll stay on the forefront of the best Star Wars news and reviews as soon as I make them.
The Saga collection really was a golden age for Star Wars collectors. We saw tons of vehicles, tons of figures, Build-A-Droid figures, just all across, just a number of really great 375 scale figures, both in the realized and in the cartoon stylized versions. And the Saga collection really took a deep dive into some legacy and legend Star Wars stories that we had either read about, seen on small bits of screen, or seen in comic books. The Saga collection was also used as a vehicle to promote both the Clone Wars series that had just started to come out, and as well as the Revenge of the Sith film, which ended the prequel series. Debuting in 2006, this really was a great promotional launch for the upcoming film, Revenge of the Sith, and we really saw an amazing depth of Clone Wars figures that we are still happy collecting today. These were the golden years of Hasbro. We saw numerous lines of figures, we saw tons of vehicles throughout the year, and we saw some really unique exclusives that we haven't seen to this day. We'll do some close-ups on the packaging because this was also a golden age of packaging for some of these collectibles. Now, not only with the flavor text, but the images on the front, but also just some detailed information on the back of these cards, as well as images of other figures down the line. Now, compare that to the figures that we have these days, which is mostly legalese and nonsense. These really were some excellent years in packaging history. One of the best pros of the Saga collection has to be the depth of material that they went into. Not only was it films, but it was also animated series, it was all the legacy figures as well, combined and repainted into really nicely stylized bubble packaging and beautiful vehicle packaging as well. Now, Mace Windu is the leader of the 187th Attack Battalion. They are the gorgeous clone troopers that are donning not only a special pauldron, but the purple shade that Mace Windu has to his lightsaber. Now, these guys are particularly special. It's really cool to see any kind of variation in the clones. It's really nice to see these guys who were not as well known with not as seen colors. Now, this is a prime example of the Saga collection's excellence in vehicles and how Hasbro used to have such a serious depth of 375-inch vehicles throughout the year, not exclusives, not HasLabs you had to participate in. This Jedi Starfighter was the much coveted Edit 2, which had, eerie symbols of the Empire yet to come, but still beautiful Republic design. We saw a couple different variations of this exact model. One on the Vintage Collection, which was Obi-Wan's. I have that one. We're going to do a side-by-side comparison, but let's take a closer look at these guys. Here we have a nice close-up of the front of the boxing, as well as the other figures that we got in the Saga collection that are part of Mace Windu's 187th Attack Battalion. Now, there was a great battle pack that included himself and these troopers at the top, but we also had an Order 66 pack that gave us a Galactic Marine, and the Covert Ops trooper has that beautiful purple shade, so I always like to believe that they were somehow linked. It was a great figure that got a 30th anniversary re-release with a pretty cool coin that's circulating every once in a while. Now, moving on to the boxing, we have just a great image of the Edit 2 in flight with another Starfighter right behind it. Now, I think that image is actually more flipped and is right from Revenge of the Sith and has a different painted vehicle on the front, because we know that image is from the start. Take two, cut that. Now, this image is beautifully designed. We have another Edit 2 behind it flying in formation. There's a Venerator cruiser, an early Star Destroyer in the back. It's clearly there's a great space battle. This is happening. We have the Star Wars logo in the upper top. We have the Saga Collection logo in the bottom right. We have the name of the starfighter, Mace Windu's Jedi Starfighter, and we have the film that it comes from in the upper left-hand corner. Now that is Revenge of the Sith. We don't actually see it on screen, but we have to assume that during the Battle of Coruscant, there were tons of Jedi that were in flight defending over the skies when the Emperor was kidnapped. Now we see emboldened in the front the great firing missiles, like bit of deco that was on the box that lets us know that there's play features in this vehicle as well as a great design. Now on the side here, we have the separate same image that we've seen before. It's kind of just differently detailed. We have a greater image of his astromech, his purple astromech that's also there. Now the top view is a really, really nice kind of straight down the barrel view of the Eta 2. It's beautiful the way it looks. I love the design of this fighter. But the back is really where we're going to get the meat and potatoes. Now we have the same image that we saw in the front of the box here. We have the whole entire vehicle itself. Hasbro used to do this, and I love when they did this, but the back art, even if it was stylized, the image that we saw was early photoshopped a version of the actual toy itself. So, I mean, maybe the weathering's a little bit done because I think it's done by stickers, but we see the actual toy in use, and it's just a great, great display of the figure and of the vehicles. We also get some great flavor text, so let's read that first. A Jedi Master, a man of peace by nature, Mace Windu was nonetheless a fearsome warrior, slow to engage in violence, but unstoppable in battle. As skilled a pilot as any in the Jedi Order, Mace Windu flew this customized Jedi Starfighter into many successful skirmishes against the droid legions of the Separatists. Beautiful flavor text, really makes us appreciate the vehicles much more. Here we have a close-up image of the opening canopy. You can really see you can just sit Mace right on in there. I have one who's going to sit right on in there with the soft goods robe. I can't wait to see him finally in his Starfighter. Interesting developing note, in the Saga collection, with the vehicles that they produced, they had firing missiles, which was a common play feature for most Hasbro vehicles, but they made the missiles be a part of the design of the vehicle itself. The missiles, when they were locked in, they didn't look like fluorescent things that shouldn't be a part of the actual vehicle itself. This is a great design where the play features add to the design, they don't take from. Here we have our third play feature, which is the spring open wings. These wings are the early foils that you could lock when they're in flight to gain extra speed. Where you can open up and disperse the heat from the laser cannon. So a really, really, really cool addition. And I love that these vehicles can be both in flight mode and attack mode. Hiding under there, we also have an image of the retractable landing gear. Now these landing gear aren't spring loaded, I don't believe, but they fold out nicely and also tuck pretty well into the vehicle when it's in flight mode. Here at the bottom, we're treated to the other vehicles that were seen in this year's Saga collection. Now, as I previously stated, we had the other two infamous Jedi Starfighters, Anakin's and Obi-Wan's. They seem to be a similar design, but with the great different paint schemes that they all shared. We also have a droid Tri-Fighter down there, the enemy of these fighters, and Vader's Starfighter, as well as Grievous's little leggy wheel thing. What do they actually call that? Grievous's wheel bike. How appropriate. Alright, I think it's time. Let's finally get this open and see what we get inside. First impressions out of the box are how truly amazing and bright these colors are. Mace Windu's purple color scheme after his Kyber crystal has always been just my favorite. It's such a different and unique color shade, and I think it's great that the 187th follows this brilliant color. Now, this particular shade of purple seems to have a bit of gloss in tone. This particular shade of purple seems to have this particular shade of purple has a unique gloss to it that's almost like an extra tone in the vehicle detailing. I'll do some close-ups because the painting and detailing on this is absolutely fantastic. Here we have a close-up on the paint and detailing of Mace Windu's Jedi Starfighter. You can really see that the high gloss kind of change in the purple. Now, he's known for his purple shade that the 187th shares with him, but as you can see on the foils, there's two different shades of purple on this vehicle. And the other shade is kind of like a glossy, glittery kind of tone effect that the other Jedi Starfighters, Obi-Wan's and Anakin's, do not have. So, aside from the shade itself, his Jedi Starfighter has some other flair that's just really, really cool to see.
The detailing and playability that Hasbro put into their vehicles back in the day is really shown off in this example. The Edda 2 had an astromech droid with it. It was an earlier version of some of the starships that we see later in the Galactic Civil War. But these little models not only had the droids in flight, but you could also take them out and put an actual astromech in there. Now, I've done that with Obi-Wan's model, but, I need to find his purple little droid now. This is a fabulous design. It really lets you expand the vehicle if you have other figures, but it also doesn't take away from it from having this little stub in there, so you can really picture him nicely. Here we can see the opening canopy, as well as some of the decals that are displayed on the vehicle. Now, these stickers seem to be the same throughout the Jedi Starfighter, so the number of kills sticker is the same as it is on Obi-Wan's. The little Arabesh name on the side seems to be similar also, but the only change in it is the color scheme. So really nice to have these additions. It's also understandable why they're the same. What is different, there are some paint detailings that are different, so I am going to hone in on those. The coolest playability function part of this vehicle has to be the opening foils. Now, just as we've seen with the other Jedi Starfighters, there is a little button on the back here. You press it down and the foils open. Really, really great. I love how quickly and easily they do that, and how nicely how just beautifully they deploy and flow. They also snap right back in so you can have it be in flight mode very easily. These things are just beautifully, beautifully designed. And look at the bottom there with that purple shade and that gloss continuing on. Awesome. Starfighter also comes with some retractable landing gear. They pop right back up into the top here. They're not completely flush in the vehicle, but they do pop out very easily and really give it some nice added detail for when it's sitting in its landed position. We are treated to some firing missiles here. To fire these missiles, we have a little button on the back here. Very, very easily, beautifully fires the projectile. Wow, those are much stronger than Obi-Wan's. Great spring on that one. As I mentioned previously, we know this vehicle from Star Wars Legends, the original Clone Wars animated series, that is the Genndy Tartakovsky 2D Microseries, and the vehicle is seen in the defense of Coruscant. So as Coruscant is assaulted by the CIS, Mace Windu takes to the skies with Saisi Tin and some of the other amazingly known Jedi. A really, really cool scene. I don't know if he even... Oh yeah, now I remember. This poor ship gets decimated in that battle, but that's the one place we saw it and where it meets its end. I have nothing but pros for this vehicle. It really is a fantastic addition to anyone's Grand Army of the Republic. I really do miss the years when Hasbro would give us just a bunch of vehicles. This year it was part of a set of 5 vehicles, and now we maybe see 1 vehicle every year, and 1 every 4 we gotta pay for in a HasLab. So, and step up the game. These are fantastic. We'll always pick them up. Wonderful. Thanks for watching another episode of Binary Sunset Review. I've been Mike. As always, your likes and your views are always greatly appreciated. I hope you're having a great time out there collecting. Stay safe, stay sane, and remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.